All right, let's get this kind of show on the road. So, we're gonna start things in a different place than normal. It's not quite an inn. It's the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Hollywood. It's there on Sunset Boulevard. It's got a long and strange history, but it is mostly known as a establishment nowadays that serves pizza and has a lot of associations with Lemmy from Motorhead, and it's just where the old rockers like to hang out after possibly seeing a gig at the Whiskey A Go Go. Now, your group isn't the closest of groups, but you do meet every few months on a rotating basis just so that you can keep aware of what's going on in the area. You never know if the Technocracy is going to be doing something a little bit extra, and it's just a way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of the city without necessarily hanging out and going places and doing stuff. And sometimes the social media and the internet and those kinds of conversations just doesn't scratch the same sort of itch. So it's kind of nice to be able to share pizza with some folks, no matter how different you are. Which brings us to tonight. It's a Sunday, like many others here in LA, and each time you do this, you take turns picking a spot. And like he always seems to, this is where Archon has chosen as his place. No one is quite sure why he's treated like family here or why his meals are always comped. But anywhere that he goes on the strip seems to take care of him. So you are there in this rock and roll themed little pizza bar. Upstairs is more of a bar and there's a DJ area, but down here it's more like a restaurant. And you can all be in your little booth together and let's go around and describe for everyone who you are and what you look like. So let's start with Omega.
Yeah, I was expecting to start with Archon since it's his place, and then
I'll come to him last.
That's bull. Hi. Yeah, you see a medium brown skinned man with hazel eyes. He has a pretty firm build. He's wearing a more dressed down version of his typical suit and tie, but no tie. But he has on a dress shirt with a black vest. People who know him knows that it's not to be fashionable, but he likes to look good. Appearance is everything. He does have his ears pierced. He is a very charismatic individual. He smiles a lot. He nods to people. He just exudes a presence for sure. And yeah, he's sitting at this place, probably nursing some water. Not much of a drinker, but he might indulge if he wants to. Yeah, that's really him. He looks good, and he's just kind of low key vibing.
Okay. Jen?
Cassie has dark brown hair, which she has pulled back into kind of a messy bun. She has these blue-gray eyes that sort of go in and out of focus as she looks around. You almost get the sense when she'll talk to you that she's just tuning in and out of what's happening in the conversation. She's paying attention, but her eyes are just sort of coming in and out of focus on whoever she's talking to. She's short. She's just a little bit over 5 feet. She's 5'2". Pretty easily fades into a crowd. She's wearing very neutral clothing and just kind of a tank top and some comfortable pants, soft, cottony, loose pants. And just fits right into the LA scene. She has a nose piercing and then a few different piercings along both of her ears, up and down her ears. And is sitting at the table munching on some pizza, drinking some water with lemon.
Okay.
Just tap water with lemon. Doesn't have to be fancy water. Just but she's not partaking in any alcohol.
Okay. Makes sense. Latia?
So Naida is more or less me. Dark brown dreadlocks that are impossibly long. Shaved sides of her head. Her hair is kind of in like this half up, half down kind of thing. She's got headphones on, one ear on, one ear off, so that she can listen to something and also listen to whoever she's talking to. She is wearing, like, she looks like she just walked out of Black Rock City. She's got on some harem pants, a tank top with a hood, some combat boots, no goggles, because you don't really need goggles on the strip. Are all of our meals always comped when we come here with Archon?
Yes.
She's having salmon. She has foregone pizza to have some salmon today, and you notice like her face is very soft. Like she's definitely got she's got crow's feet too young because she just smiles and is just always so bright. Her eyes are purple, but if you look pretty closely, you see that she might be wearing contacts today. But anybody who would normally know, she's got like very kind of like hazel green eyes.
Okay. Sounds good. And Satyr, tell us about Archon.
Archon's kind of a almost gangly, little over 6 foot, kind of really lean, rangy looking guy. He looks like he might be mid-30s, but it's kind of a rough kind of mid-30s. He's just got the 90s style soul patch, no mustache, and that early 90s grunge hair that comes to just above the shoulders. Is all kind of just fashionably tousled just so. Dressed in currently wearing a black jean jacket and a Paramore t-shirt, ripped up jeans, barefoot with a guitar. And he's got that grungy charisma of an early 90s rock star-ish, which means that it's both a little fascinating and a little bit like, what the fuck are you doing here now? That was 30 years ago. Sort of having the punched puppy look that Kurt Cobain might have had if he had survived his career.
That works. So you're all at this table eating pizza and salmon. What's the kind of the topic? You guys, it's probably been at least a month for all of you to have gotten together. It's possible that Aida and Archon are a little bit more in touch, but what?
Do we come together for more official business, or is it more just like chilling, just keeping up with one another? Is it about
It's more the
other
latter.
people that we don't care about?
No, it's more the latter.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need to be bound by any official reason.
Cool.
This is simply the fact that you guys know that you all are awakened, and that comes with, if not a responsibility, at least an awareness that there are other things out there, and being able to talk or converse, whether it's, I think I saw a vampire at such and such, or I hear the Technocracy's been doing this, or there was a kid who I heard awoke and needed some guidance. It could be anything.
Did you hear they're opening a new Sweetgreens in Sherman Oaks?
Is that some vegan place?
Sometimes. They have other stuff. It's really good. Salads, and
I like salad.
sandwiches, soup.
Rev, I kind of got a line on somebody who might need a little bit of help soon. She's not currently looking to go home, but she's not in a good situation, and she just hasn't figured it out yet. Another runaway, go figure. But she figures she can, find her way out into, the next big thing, and you know the type. Good kid. Been making sure nothing really bad happens to her, but she's kind of got the edge of a death wish, and I'm a little concerned about her. And I think you could probably talk better sense to her than I could.
As he nurses his very elegant, aka super tap water in his glass. Where is she? I mean, not here, obviously, but if you can lead her towards where I am, perhaps I can be of a little bit of an assistance.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll see if I can talk her into. I mean, I don't get the impression that she's got the whole thing going, but I should know better.
She's a little lost and she needs a little guidance.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
I don't think I have all the answers. No one does. No one does. But I can do what I can if I can.
Thank you. Oh, one thing. Archon's got to know. Archon's drinking enough for all of you. He's not drunk, but the rest of y'all aren't drinking, but he is.
Yeah, and they keep coming. It's just someone they know has been here a long time, and for some reason, they've never had a problem with him while he's here. So they don't.
While he's here.
While he's here.
Well, he's someone else's problem once he leaves.
Well, this is where John Belushi's last meal was, so you never can tell what their expectations are when someone leaves the front door.
I haven't checked in on you, Naida and Cassie. How y'all doing? I know it's a little weird out here nowadays.
Oh, stuff's good. Studio's going really well. I am working on... What am I working on? I don't know, but it's going to be great, whatever it is that I'm working on. I know I'm working on something at the studio
Something that's going to be released, or is it a
personal
project?
It's a personal project. It's a personal project.
All right.
You know her studio. It's not a musical. It's not a recording studio. It's where she makes all of her fire props and stuff like that, and experiments with new kinds of fire props. So she's always working on something.
Valid.
Gosh, fire's excellent.
Yeah, and things are good. Business is, the norm. Insomniacs.
Yeah.
Mostly. A lot of those recently.
More than normal?
I think everyone's been really stressed lately, so it's just been kind of, it's been busy, but it's someone with night terrors the other day. That was exciting.
How did that go?
Fair amount of screaming, some thrashing. We were able to pull him out of it. Took a little while, though. It's a really interesting one. You sit up upright, your eyes are open, you're looking around, you're just not seeing where you are.
I don't know if that's interesting, but hey, whatever floats your metaphysical boat, I'm not gonna knock it.
Comparing to monitoring snoring, it's much more interesting.
Well, when you put it that way.
Can I get another espresso?
Yeah, they'll bring that over. A text alert comes over Archon's probably pay-as-you-go phone.
Yeah, it's got a burner phone.
It's got a burner phone. It just says, "Enjoy your pizza. Stop by tomorrow and bring your friends."
Does it say stop by where or from whom?
You know who it is. It's an individual that you met at a V&V Nation show a couple years back. His name is Stanlis, and he owns a curiosity shop over in Pasadena. This individual, he's not awakened, but he's also something other.
Mm-hmm.
And about at the same time, on Cassie's phone, there's a DM from one of her followers on social media, Dark Dream 73. You've never known who they are, but whenever they've commented on your posts in the past about sleep and dreams, it always seems like they know a little bit more than they're letting on. And a few of those times, they've kind of sent you in new and exciting directions. But this time, the message is kind of overt and maybe even a little frightening when it just says, "It will be nice to meet you too." And that's it.
That's kind of creepy.
You too?
What is it?
Yeah, should I? I may want to report this. This person has been messaging me for a while. Like, they sometimes comment whenever I post about some of the the studies that have come out or recent, investigations into sleep and dream and things like that. And this is a little intrusive. Hello, parasocial relationship boundaries.
Is it something that's going to be a problem?
Can I find anything on their profile that seems identifying?
Their profile's always been intentionally blank. You know from the posts that have been made, the person knows what they're talking about, but you don't know anything individually about them. And they don't seem to post anything else, like with other things that you can
Can I
cross-check.
do a search for that username in other places?
Sure.
Okay.
Just a
I'll
normal.
just start, just your standard, like, I'm going to try and figure out who this person is. Do they have accounts on other platforms? Do they have, is their profile, do a reverse image search, kind of just,
They are intentionally secretive,
okay.
but they do post in places, and most of the things that do come up seem to be dealing with things of the occult or getting information like antiquities. But the sleep and dreams aspect seems to be limited mostly to you.
Okay. Creepy. Not sure if I should report it though. Would clear-sighted help at all with this?
Not yet.
Okay.
Rev just looks over at Cassie. You seem a little shaken up, more than usual. What's going on?
I mean, it's never comfortable when someone directly contacts you and then talks about meeting you, so...
No, I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got a message here from this person, and they said it'll be nice to meet you too. So either this is your friend there, Archon, or this is a stalker, and I should be reporting it.
As awakened, you would be aware that coincidences are rarely coincidental.
Well,
Let's wait and see.
What who they say they were?
They didn't,
No, see.
but they do have some background with antiques in the occult. It could be your friend. So
Wait, ask her out.
yeah.
I can do that. Oh,
Sure.
and Stanlis wants to get together with us. When did you say that was?
It says tomorrow.
Okay. Stanlis wants to meet up with us tomorrow.
They don't.
Right, I
Know,
think this might.
they don't know who that is.
Oh,
but-
they don't know who that is. Okay. All right. What do I know about Stanlis?
From what perspective are you asking? Description, job.
Yeah. What does Archon? How does Archon know this person? And what does Archon think this person is? I mean, are they a producer or?
No, this was someone that
Oh,
you
yeah.
met in the crowd at a concert. They are very tall, shaved head, dressed in a lot of black, very pale, and always seem to have a fairly dark demeanor about them. Very acerbic with his wit, but also very, very smart. He never speaks above a whisper. You know he owns a curiosities shop in Pasadena in an old Victorian house, and dabbles in both kind of the occult, but not in the way of someone who cares about the superstitious nonsense. He looks for secrets. He looks for those kinds of things, and you believe he is one of the Fae folk.
Okay. So I would rephrase, thank you, and knowing that, I would rephrase it as. So there's this acquaintance of mine who's got a curiosity shop. He seems to know that we're sitting here eating right now, which is a little disconcerting, gotta say, but he kind of knows his shit, and he says he's looking forward to meeting us for whatever reason that is. Tomorrow. Did he say what time tomorrow?
No, he didn't say a time. He probably
Then he
doesn't
was-
care.
Said he's looking forward to meeting us tomorrow. Didn't give a time. Kind of guessing he wants me/us to come by his shop. But, I don't know if y'all are.
Curiosity shop could be this person that messaged me too. They did on this forum post over here. They were talking about looking for certain. What was this old jewelry box they were looking for or something, and I don't know, something like that. But maybe it's the same person.
While they're talking, I don't know if it's like the time to do it, and I don't know exactly how to do it, but he's not a fan of being watched. More so not on his own terms, at least. So he's just gonna casually just lay back and like take a pizza and like start to chew on it, but just start looking around. But more so, he's starting to look past the physical, like moving more like just kind of sense if there's something or some people that are more like us or more not awake, who might be around, who might not be a problem, but like for someone to know we're here, it's kind of concerning.
Well, what spheres do you think you would want to be applying here?
I feel like this is potentially I feel like this is probably like Prime or I'm looking at this stuff right here. Potentially even Mind. Just trying to reach out and see if there's anything immediately
In the immediate
On.
area, you would be able to use those. Prime
Yeah.
would allow you to see if something has like an extra supernatural quality or is channeling magic. The Mind would be, is there like a local presence doing anything? Go ahead and roll me your 3 Arete dice. Let's just go with difficulty 4.
Okay. And 3 Arete dice, I guess 3d10.
3d10s.
Okay.
And the diff's only a 4, so that's why the vampire dice might not be the best dice. for
Yeah.
Do you have anything that's 4 or better?
Yes, but I also have a 1.
Okay, at least it's not a botch.
Oh yeah, I have an 8.
So you have an 8 in addition to whatever the 1 took away?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
You only rolled 3 dice, so I got 1 8, 1 3, 1 1.
1 8, 1 3, 1 1?
Yes.
Okay, so that's no successes.
Yes.
Okay. You don't necessarily detect anything weaving. There's no one here that you would see with like a normal perception.
That's valid.
There's lots of tchotchkes and pictures on the wall, so it's conceivable that there's a hidden camera, but you don't see anything.
Okay. Yeah. He still, just kind of focuses for a second and then kind of begins to chew again. Either I was off or nothing's immediately around.
I didn't see anything either, so I think we're okay. I didn't see anything, right?
Well, clear sighted, it's only going to let you see kind of what's there. Did you want to do any sort of sensory magic?
Could do some. Sure. I'm pretty solid with perception, and I have clear sighted. Just in general, I'm pretty solid in looking around and noticing what's here.
Right. I know what your
dimensions.
perception score is. There's nothing. Well, you would need to use one of the spheres to see something if it was kind of happening from afar. Here, you're pretty confident that there's no one here who's giving you a second look, whether they're in mirror shades or whether they're a boogeyman in the corner.
And since the sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Satyr.
Just since the Rev mentioned it, I'm going to take a nice big swig, close my eyes, just kind of feel the burn of the beer down the back of the throat. Let breath out, open my eyes, and kind of look around the place. Basically, what I'm using here is the spirit to just kind of
Literal spirit. And see if there's anything that is anyone that is glowing, anyone that is more than usual. I mean, Archon tends to be really attuned to the whole haunted world of LA thing anyway, but in this case I'm looking for, so is there somebody here who looks like they're paying special attention to us who is not mundane? And you said 4 different.
Yeah. Easy sensory magic.
10, 7, and 8.
Whew.
And that's just the Arete roll.
Obviously, your group is glowing well, but there's nothing. Maybe an object that's imprinted. There's I think there was a statue of Lemmy up on the wall. There's all sorts of photos that are signed by people. So there's a lot of spiritual resonance here. This place is old.
Mm-hmm.
It's got previous incarnations back to Judy Garland. I mean, it was Manelli who owned this place originally. So this is a lot of resonance in the spiritual here. And sometimes it's even a little overwhelming how much is here. But you don't sense anyone that is looking at you here and is local.
Okay.
Now, between the three of you, you've done more than enough physical and magical perception to pretty easily come to the conclusion that someone is using some sort of gift or spell or wonder of far seeing. They're obviously able to see from afar.
So I say we go grab some coffee, and then tomorrow we'll go talk to them.
Okay. Anyone else want to do anything that evening? If not, that's more than fine.
No, I think I might have an impromptu performance or something, depending on who wants to perform what on the strip. I might just join them, but I got nothing going on.
I don't have much going on either. Well, that's a lie. I am going to stop by I am going to stop by the local. I'm going to take whatever pieces of pizza that we didn't finish, if there's any, and ask for like a little to-go thing, and take those pieces to. You can kind of wander around if there's any like homeless in the alleys or things of that nature. I'm just going to give it to them.
In this area, yes, but they'll when you ask for a to-go box, they'll actually bring you one with a full pizza.
Huh. And he'll say, "That's much appreciated. We need more good people like you." Even if it's because of Archon, he's still, a level of respect. And before he goes, he'll say, "You all know where to find me, but I guess we're going to be meeting up tomorrow at some point."
I don't know who's got cars or how you want to do that.
I have a car,
I 1000% have a
but
car,
if we're going all the way to Pasadena, can you please either go early or late? Please. Let's go against traffic here.
Whatever time works best for me. I got nothing going on.
I can go early.
You need to be picked up, Naida?
Yes, please.
I figured. No shade.
So, wait, am I picking you up or are we meeting somewhere? I can pick everybody up, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, you keep it simple. Let's meet here.
Let's just work against traffic, though, please.
We can be here, that's fine.
Yeah, what time is good?
I guess if we're on the road before 8.
Okay.
It's an all-nighter
Yeah.
then, huh?
Well, because we don't want to be coming back anytime after 4.
That makes sense.
So,
This is why I don't have a car.
Welcome to LA.
I'll bring coffee.
thank you. We're going to stop on the way, too. Maybe we'll go to Old Town. Good intelligentsia. It'll be great.
Oh. Yeah, Archon hasn't had a car since the Bush 2 administration.
Can I get this to go?
They will refresh anything anyone needs.
Top off my coffee. Add a couple shots of espresso.
I was just saying, I'll make sure that everybody who works at the I'll make sure that everybody who works at the place, is happy. Give them a good tip, and be nice to everybody.
As I'm heading out the door, I'll kind of just flick my wrist and a business card will appear, and I'll put it on a nearby table. And it just literally says, "The Reverend can guide you. Find me if you need it." He has a fuck ton of them. And I don't know how sacrilegious is the wrong word, but for those who know what he is, for him to be also kind of self-promoting himself is interesting. But versus, the church itself. Anywho, but yeah,
He proselytizes himself.
yeah.
I leave after the Reverend and I take a pen that's hiding in my hair and I put a smiley face in the bottom right corner of the business card.
They always come. Do you always sign you with smiley faces?
Like a little silver gel pen.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Red ink. No, it's like shiny red ink.
Okay.
I want Naida to have one of those pins that have like 7 different colors in it.
Oh,
or
she
8 different
absolutely
colors,
does.
But like they're all like gold or silver and gel and ruby.
Yeah, no, it's a custom Pilot Toledo high tech pen. It's
Yes.
obnoxious.
Sounds good. The next day, you all meet up way too early and head over to the Dina.
It's the only way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Going across the 210 isn't too bad in the morning, but
Yeah, you're against traffic.
if you're
but even
taking
so.
like the 134, it could be a little rough.
At 1:34 that hour.
No.
You don't want to have to go through that place in the 5 near Dodger Stadium. Ugh.
And this is where we can tell who in this group lives in the area.
Lives in Los Angeles.
Just like in the Technocracy game when they all went to Porto's, which is like a local bakery.
So
and,
good.
and B Dave and Nora were talking about the potato balls, and Dan and Justice
Which is the
didn't
thing.
know anything.
It is. Poor Dan and
Look,
Justice.
if you were in St. Louis, I can tell you all about that.
Dan and Justice have since had potato balls.
Oh,
Can we get
awesome.
potato balls too?
Yeah.
Is that just part of?
If
part
you
of
guys
this?
want them, I'll send you guys out gift cards for Portos too. So
You want them. You very much want them. They're so good.
I like the little dulce de leche besitos, the little like
Okay, we're talking about
Yeah, they
food.
do
Sounds really
alfajores.
good
Okay,
now.
food tangents.
food
Yeah.
tangent. We can cut this or we can keep it. It's still fun. You all make the drive into Pasadena and you get into the older town area where there's actually a collection of Victorian buildings that were here when Pasadena was first starting to form. And Archon has been here a couple times, but it's not something, one, it's way out of the way for him on the strip, and it requires a conveyance. But it's a place you've been before. It's called Curiouser and Curiouser Curios and Curiosities. And there's the Tenniel Cheshire Cat on the sign. The door is open. It's got the open sign, I should say, and you know this is where this individual makes his business.
So it's called Curiouser and Curiouser
Curios and
Curios
curiosities. That's an awesome name. I love
Curios
it.
and curiosities. It's that part. So while we were driving over, Archon was asking Cassie about what does she know about this person who seems to be stalking her.
I don't. I mean, I don't. They follow some of my posts and occasionally comment on some of the dream research and sleep research that's been happening. And that's the only place I had known them from, other than now I went to kind of dig into it a little bit more. Their name is Dark Dream 73, and then when I searched for their that username anywhere else, that was what I found.
Archon, it's not a big leap.
Okay.
Considering you think you know what he is and what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to go. Oh yeah, dreams. Yeah. This person seemed to have any particular, I don't know, interest in the occult, or well, not even interest in the occult. Fuck, that's everybody in LA. But I mean the.
Sure.
Do they seem to actually like know what they're talking about?
Yeah, they do. Seems pretty accurate, everything they've talked about.
I wonder what he's got in mind.
Regardless, we're not gonna let someone get too friendly.
I agree with you there.
Okay. Are you going in? Or some of you going in?
I was gonna say, if we're standing outside talking, I am literally doing this, and once we have expended the amount of time that I am tired of doing this, I'm walking in.
Yeah, he has no reason not to walk in. Yeah.
Okay.
While we've been talking, Archon's been smoking a cigarette, and
Each time you smoke around Rev, he gives you a look.
and doing again the closed eyes, and then the giving the area once over. Again, spirit vision, and also just plain mundane vision as well. This is the spirit thing is really to enhance it, but Archon's unusually perceptive to things of the Archon nature. Oh wow, no, that's a botch. I don't see shit.
You're not saying anything.
Oh, gets in your eyes.
I'm not going to even hit that
ones.
That's not a botch. Because you
No,
did
that's a
have the
botch.
7.
The one took away the 7. The other one is a botch. It took away. No, that's right. We changed the rules.
You
on
changed
botching.
the rules on botching. Yeah,
when you have the DM and then you're DMing with the person who created the
No, that was one I had to relearn too. The old rule is if you came out net negative, it's a botch. Now, as
Yeah.
long as you have at least one success, even if you lost it in with another one, you're still at least just a failure. So We're
Yeah,
okay.
they changed the rules for Vampire 20. I had to, I had to relearn some of the rules myself.
So you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't see anything. Cassie, with clear sighted though, is going to notice that this place seems to have a haunting resonance to it. That the spirit world is a little thinner here,
Mm-hmm.
and that there are ghosts that are flittering about more so than what you may normally see.
Can I identify anything specific about those spirits? Is there anything?
No, they just seem to like to congregate here. Like there's something of interest to them. From the outside, that's what you're going to see. Omega, were you going with anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, before I walked in, you saw that I was just like surveying the outside of this place, less caring about what it actually is, more so just remembering what it is, just in case he needs to come back or just whatever. He has a really sharp memory.
Okay.
But that's all. But yeah, he's walked in and is not liking the overwhelming fragrance right now, but you know, it's cool.
The inside is kind of stacked floor to ceiling. There are tables everywhere with all sorts of curios and tchotchkes. A lot of them are just strange. On tables and cases, you see all sorts of things. You see aspects of old spiritualism. There's Houdini's notes, or old Ouija boards, Victorian death photos, mortuary makeup kits, animal skulls, and taxidermy of the impossible. You see medical equipment from centuries past that looks like it was used more for torture than saving anyone's life. And next to them are the old medical and biology illustrations to go along. Stacked next to those are the old apothecary vials, snake oils, and magical elixirs. And among them all are other strange oddities. There's an ornate mirror that doesn't reflect everything in the room. There are incomplete porcelain dolls and a clock that spins backwards. On another counter is a pen and ink set with a raven motif that you realize has a telltale story all of its own. And of course are the shelves of all the grimoires. There's a scent of something in the air, perhaps sage, violet, or bergamot. It's floral but not common and mildly off-putting. If Wednesday Addams had opened a shop, it might look like this. And sitting kind of near the back, reading a book, is this strange, tall, willowy figure who just beckons you in. And he sets the book down and stands up. And as he does, regardless of how tall you are, he feels like he's taller than you and looming over you, even when you've got space.
What kind of physical etiquette do we have? Do we like a hey, how's it going? You know, give each other a hug or anything? Does it handshake? Is it just kind of a head nod? What sort of a when Archon and this person had met before?
He's not touchy.
Okay.
And the feeling that you get even around him is he's a spider. Almost like Lurch from the Addams Family. Both very, very awkward, but also once he turns his attention to you, he's all there.
Okay, cool. So, okay.
Archon.
Oh, nice. Nice. I like that. That's good.
But never above a whisper. And it seems to reverberate and echo around you.
And Cassie, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Stanlis. Welcome to my shop.
Thank you.
Cassie, you're clear-sighted, so you are seeing something that is not wholly human. He is taller and thinner than what the others are seeing. It's almost like it's an after image. You're seeing both.
Mhm.
And the after image has very small black eyes in dark sockets and black lips and no teeth in his mouth.
Have I met people like this before?
You have seen other things that you have assumed touch the realm of dreams. Whether you've known what they are or not is different. And then in that same sort of shimmeriness, the whole inside has a almost an after image where the books are bigger, where the ceiling seems to go further, and there's a large softball-sized body giant spider nearby.
I mean, this isn't the sort of thing you call people out on, right? This is, you acknowledge it, but don't.
Well, whatever etiquette there is around it, I personally don't know. This isn't quite the same as, seeing someone with strange hair or, anything else that most folk will give a second look for. This is something that this individual would know that if you saw would definitely cause a reaction. He obviously doesn't know that you have the clear sight, though.
I'm going to keep it to myself for the moment.
Okay.
I'm not going to react in any overt
And
way.
I'm sure that's a practiced response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, can I offer you any tea?
And he starts getting some chinaware out.
I don't know. I have my coffee. Thanks. Though.
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
Give cardamom.
I'll take it.
I would like cardamom.
Okay. I think I have some spice.
Forgive me. I don't mind being, woken up at the crack of dawn to do work, but this sounds like more than just a convenient get together for tea and crumpets.
Oh, I didn't know I had any crumpets.
You could if you just looked hard enough.
Probably. No, this is something else.
So, what can we do for you?
Or perhaps what I can do for you. I'm not quite sure how this is going to pan out. There were some kids in here last week who tried to sell me something. I didn't see what it was, but the spirits were agitated by its presence. One of the kids called the other Dean, but I didn't get any sort of information from them. And on some of the hints they were giving me, I thought it could have been an artifact. So maybe it was coincidence, but there was something that happened at a nightclub on Saturday in the valley, and the reporter mentioned that someone claimed it was because they had a magic eye. And this fits something.
So, when you say kids, are you talking about like teenage kids, 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds?
No, 20-somethings, I don't know.
So he pulls
A
out
magic eye.
a magazine.
It's a little coincidental that someone claimed to have a magic eye. And this was in a magazine. And this very thing is purported to deal with the spirits.
Was there any report of this item being stolen?
I'm not sure.
So what do you want from us? Don't get me wrong. I'm all about figuring things out and helping, but this sounds like a specific task.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this kind of thing. If this is an actual free agent item, I could compensate for it. Or owe a favor. I collect information of all sorts. On the other hand, you may find that this fits your own personal needs more. In either way, it's probably safer in your hands than in someone else's.
Off above board, how many I mean, I know there's no accurate number, but what's the average amount of awakened folk in LA or around the place? He's just trying to figure out why specifically the four of us and why not someone else. That's all.
Okay. Oh, there used to be these old numbers that then once you figured out the population of the World of Darkness made no sense. So what was it, about maybe 10 mages in a city the size of LA, Satyr?
For LA itself, probably more than that. It depends really on how large a population, just how large a population is, but how active in various things the population would be. I mean, you could have a small city with nobody doing anything that would be of interest.
Yeah, and then here we split with the technocracy too.
Yeah, and especially in a major city, you're going to have more people. You're definitely going to have more active technocrats, but you're going to also, especially in a place like LA, you're going to have a lot of people who are more aware than usual and more awake than usual.
As far as the why, he already knows Archon, and two, because of her research, he's aware of Cassie.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess wasn't sure how many were out and about. I want to just make sure it wasn't like this. Hey, 4 random people, you do this for me.
No,
if it makes sense. Okay,
two of you are quasi-random, but 2 of you he's aware of.
Valid.
And unfortunately, It meant that he had to kind of pull the curtain back for Cassie. At least Archon he already knew personally.
Makes sense. Okay. Cool. Yeah. He Well, I'm not a fan of all seeing eyes, but if it's better for folk like us, then let's see what we can do.
So these kids, what they look like?
One was white. There was a Hispanic couple.
Okay.
And another person I couldn't quite tell. They were light brown skinned. They could have been anything.
How were they dressed? I mean, what did it look like? They were in any particular scene, or what they wear?
They dressed kind of like club kids.
Like techno club kids, rock club kids, goth club kids.
More goth club.
I'm going to start to walk around as they're talking, just looking at different places. And I'm going to attach to my pants as a chain with a small little timepiece dangling. And I'm going to fill that. And how long ago did he say the kids were here?
He's only said last week. He didn't tell you the specific time.
That's valid. I'm just going to see about potentially seeing if I can look back and, feeling, where the auras are in the rooms, where I know where they would have been in this area, in this store and stuff. See if I can feel and get a visual of what they looked like then.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 3 dice for me.
That is a 9, a 6, and a 7.
Oh, that's lovely. You get a sense that these 4 individuals came in late last week. They had something in a cloth pouch, like a jewelry kind of pouch. They didn't take it out. They came in. You're only seeing things, you're not hearing anything. So they seemed agitated. They seemed like they were in a hurry. They were all early 20s. There was a Hispanic couple. They seemed, and you believe they were a couple because at one point as they were coming in, you saw them holding hands, and then they kind of broke that as they came in. You saw the leader, definitely more charismatic than the others. He was a white guy, but he also seemed really full of himself. And then you see another individual who is of another ethnicity. He was definitely not black or Hispanic, but he had more of an olive complexion, possibly Mediterranean, possibly Middle Eastern. They came in, they tried to start to barter. And like I said, you're not hearing anything, but it's obvious. And then you see Stanlis starting to ask questions about it and wanting to see it, like reaching out for it. And they kind of pull it back. And at some point, their agitation grows enough that they then bolt.
He kind of takes that in, looking back over at Stanlis from wherever he is. He's probably looking at like some sage or something in the room. Surprisingly, he's like there, but like his nose is kind of covered because it's sensitive. But he's. Do you know why they would have gotten so agitated? They came in. They seemed to have a purpose, but when you ask questions, they left. That sounds strange. Seems like they wanted to give it up and go without question.
It was that, or I thought it was stolen.
They wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible.
But I wanted to know if I could keep it for appraisal, and they weren't happy about that.
They wanted something for it now instead of.
Yes. And then once I started asking questions, they wanted to leave. I didn't think too much of it, other than the fact that they probably had something stolen from their mother's curio cabinet. But once I saw the news, and someone said that their magic eye caused someone to die, I got a little more curious myself.
I wonder if they found it, or if they found it before that accident or after. That would very much decide why, or deduce their actions. Were they the ones to cause the death, or did they find it and realize not what it is, but the
I
association.
remember seeing this news story. Like, what Was there any, aside from this news story saying that the magic eye caused someone to die, was there anything else about this news story that might have set off alarm bells?
Hello, Don Summers here, standing at the Paradise Lost nightclub in North Hollywood, where a holographic club display was the source of a tragedy this evening. There was no disco inferno tonight, after witnesses have described a woman in her late 20s collapsing when a holographic club display of the devil took her by surprise. The crowd rapidly cleared, and club management has been cooperative with the investigation. And police and paramedics are on the scene, although we've been told that the woman did not survive. Officials are not currently releasing the name of the victim. As we're told, it's common for high-tech clubs like this to use holographs, lasers, and other similar displays here on both the heaven and hell floors to lend an authentic air to the club, with devils downstairs and angels upstairs. Police are taking witness statements and gathering evidence, such as the woman's drink, as a precautionary measure, although one witness did state that the woman was wearing a medical bracelet at the time. As to be expected, we've heard varying accounts as to what happened this evening, with a few individuals claiming she fell immediately before the club display, and others claiming it was the real devil. One witness even stated that his own magic eye was to blame. Only in North Hollywood, I suppose. Back to the studio. I'm Don Summers, Channel 6 News.
Okay.
But that's what Stanlis had seen. And so he didn't think anything of it at the time, other than someone trying to fence something else. A little strange given what was happening to the spirits at the time. But it wouldn't have been the first time someone brought in what would account, would be a fetter, or would be something that had ties to someone who had passed away, and so they're still following their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that to him is normal. So that's all he assumed it was at the time. But then seeing this article come out, this magazine, and also the news, made him realize that the things that this thing was known for connected a few dots. He's not 100% certain, but he's got enough to think that he needed to call in some folks who might be better equipped at handling.
Using spirit, or spirit plus mind, can I connect to the spirits and see why they are so unsettled?
Sure, you can do that.
What about this so disquieted them? So what would that roll be?
You're just going to need to see them and communicate. I believe that's 2 dots. So let's give me
So
a
I have
difficulty.
3.
Give me a difficulty of 5.
Okay. And so it's the spirit dice and then plus.
No, just roll your arete.
Just
so 3 dice.
Just roll my arete. Okay. 2, 8, and 7. So yeah.
Oh, great. Now, how are you going to talk to them?
I think that because they are in a different plane of existence, that they're existing in the not reality as well as the reality, that's a place that I can connect to.
Okay.
That's a crack that I can slip into, and that this place itself is not a place of
Yeah, the gauntlet is very thin here.
yeah, it's not something where I have to create a distraction or find a person who has that place that I can slip in, but instead, because this is a place where it's permeable and they are existing in multiple places at once, I can also do the same.
In fact, a lot of times it even feels like they're brushing against you. The dead here are very active, and you know that they even refer to their realm as the Shadowlands. It's a little different than the realm of dream that you normally touch. It's very easy to get at least some basic awareness of what's going on here. One is Stanlis is a conduit for them, and he can see them and speak to them rather normally. And so because of the fact that they can be heard, they come here. Sometimes to get help, sometimes he gets information in exchange for something. That's why they're here now. But some of them, as you're kind of getting vibes and communications, were especially distressed by this thing, because when it came here, it is like a beacon to them. And so the darker spirits are highly attracted to whatever they had.
And I know that this is a place that's existing in multiple realities at the same time. In any of those realities, was anyone able to see the object? Was that the bag, permeable in any of those realities? Or did anyone have an impression of the object in a different form in any of those places?
No, that's a good question. The object to them isn't so much the thing as what anyone here would see.
Mm-hmm.
It is like a small sun. It is, like a black hole. It's just so full of dark energy that their internal shadows are attracted to it.
Okay. Well, it's nothing good. And did they have any impression of the people who carried it? Was there anything that they carried with them? Any presence?
Oh, that's one that... So you could probably get similar descriptions, although they would be colored by the way that the dead see the living.
Right.
As what Omega got. But the few that you were speaking with describe these individuals as having much darker souls than people of that age usually do.
I'm not sure how hard it's going to be and or I don't know what will make more sense. But it sounds like we definitely need to find these individuals, but how is going to be the question. However, being someone who is attuned with Prime, is there a way I can, it's been a week, so I don't know how much energy lingers, but I would just like to at least start the process of, and this doesn't have to happen immediately, but just trying to see if I can almost track the energy of that eye, being that it is a object infused with some kind of energy.
Do you have correspondence?
No.
Okay. So there are certain, most perceptual kind of things, if you don't have correspondence, are more or less limited to the area that you're in.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
And
I was
you're also
thinking
dealing
about
with the time
Prime.
aspect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's perfect train of thought, though.
I was gonna say, I do have correspondence, so is there a way that I can begin tracing in some way?
Correspondence is kind of like an accessory sphere, so it works
I have
well with
2
other
dots in
things.
it. Okay, so yeah, I guess. So knowing what we know about it, it would link to
And you also have all the information that's in that magazine.
Which is
Right.
what Naida has been doing. She's been like poring over this magazine.
Have you been reading the text?
Yes.
Okay. It's all legit.
Sweet.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, she had been looking around the curio shop, but once the magazine was brought to everyone's attention, like she's probably like, if it's placed on like a countertop or whatever, she's just like leaning on the countertop and reading it.
Oh yeah, he handed over. And for everyone's benefit, it basically tells the story of what this thing was. And in the late 1700s, there was these things called lover's eyes, and they were hand painted because it was still just before photographs were possible. And someone would give one to someone that they cared about. And the first one was, I believe, for a prince. There we go. Prince George of Wales gave one to his love as a token. And there's this story of that where it basically made the proposal happen. And it was to allow people to connect with their loved ones when they didn't have cell phones and photos and things. And you could keep it on your person. So it's not like having a big painting. Well, apparently another couple had one of these. But before they could get married, she passed away. They don't know.
Violet.
They don't know how or why. The story says could have been murder, could have been disease, could have been almost anything. But somebody, whether it was someone was awakened before, or what we call hedge magic, or whether it happened after the fact in death with her own powers as a ghost, but this thing allowed them to communicate even after death. Eventually, he moved on and got another love and started ignoring her calls. And her spirit then turned rather vengeful. Since then, this thing has kind of passed in and out of the hands of people, and it's usually referred to as being cursed. There's an individual in Glendale who is supposedly the one who has it now, and he is a big-time producer on a local network, well, on a cable network, I should say, and he's deep into the occult.
But now he doesn't have it. Now these kids have it.
Presumably.
Presumably, yeah.
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 And
Okay.
some of the reported abilities of this thing is obviously to connect and talk to the dead. You have now heard that this thing is some sort of beacon to the land of the dead.
Okay.
So you don't know if there's any other associations with it, but it definitely is similar to what Cassie just did and what Stanlis can do, but it has a darker aspect to it than them using their abilities, and anyone can use it.
So what has Archon seen in terms of what other people are doing? I mean, Naida is reading a magazine. The Rev is walking around with a pocket watch. Cassie, what out of from the perspective of character to character, what do I see you doing?
You see me kind of walking around, maybe absent-mindedly touching objects, picking things up, and sort of, taking a hairpin and just kind of looking at it, and sometimes kind of looking off, almost as if there's a person there or something. And you also see that she has goosebumps all over her arms. And she kind of pulls on her sweater at one point. She has tattoos as well, of a number of different things on her arms, in bright kind of watercolor tattoos. And once in a while, she's whispering something, but mostly it's just kind of looking at places where there aren't really objects to be looking at. And her eyes just focus and unfocus and look around as she touches these things and occasionally whispers.
Okay, thank you. So I'll say this, Stanlis. It looks like our friends are already kind of on the case. Would you mind if I talk to your other folks here? Gesturing to where the ghosts are.
No, be my guest.
Thank you. And I will go over, find a spot, kind of hit a lotus position, and just start yoga breathing. And the mudras and all of that, and start whispering a sound. Wants to talk. I can hear you. Want to have a conversation?
What do you want to know?
Well, Stanlis says that the kids who are in here were kind of freaking you all out a little bit. What about them bother you?
Whatever they had brought everyone's shadows out.
That's not good. Anybody need any help? Anything I can do?
Things are calmer now. They're gone.
Good. None of you have seen them before?
No, not around here.
They have anything we should know about in terms of I don't know, they have anything riding them or following them around other than the eye itself?
No, but they were already evil.
I mean, even by LA standards, that's pretty fucking bad. Any kind of indication? Is it like murder evil, sex traffic evil? Just ripping off convenience store evil? Any kind of idea what sort of things they might be up to, or maybe where we can find them?
No one here followed them.
Probably wise. Well, there any? Thank you all. Thank you for your help. Is there anything I can do to, I don't know, set anything to right? Anything I could do to help you?
Stanlis is already working for us.
Good. I'm glad. Seems like sound like good people to you.
Oh, he's more than capable.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention, and thank you for your help. We'll see what we can do with this. Appreciate it. Be well.
They don't respond at the end, but you feel the presence kind of cut.
May I, looking at this article, the cover and the image in the article are different colors, different eyes. Is there a possibility that there could be two?
One, you are going to go with the Occam's razor on this one, that they simply
Okay.
colored it for editorial purposes.
Okay, just making sure.
No, that's a perfectly fine question. No, they made it purple because they're playing up on the name and their logo type anyway.
And two, Stanlis, you know most of the people in our community here, right?
No, I wouldn't say that. I know Archon, and you came to my attention because of your awareness of the dreaming.
Could I use this image of David Parton and correspondence and spear? I guess it would need Prime, wouldn't it, to detect whether he's kind of. I mean, clearly he has actual occult and esoterica in his home,
Sure.
but I'm trying to find out if he's legit.
If he's awakened,
Mhm.
that would be kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
But you probably could with enough Prime and correspondence. It'd be a lot easier if you were just there and near him or
In
front of
person.
him.
I mean, we could take a trip to Glendale. It's going to be tough to get in to see him, probably.
I was thinking that we should go see him. I'm sure between the four of us, possibly five of us, if Stanlis is amenable, coming up with a good reason, a solid reason to go see this guy.
It would be a good start if we don't have anything else to go on, at least. Get a better feel of this thing.
Well, one thought would be that most people who want to keep these things private don't do an expose in a magazine. I usually see this kind of thing when someone wants to sell it.
Huh. The kids have bought it.
Or you can find him and offer to buy it, and maybe he doesn't know it's stolen, or maybe it isn't stolen.
Fair. We can certainly try. I could check hospital records for his contact information.
Sure.
How's that HIPAA coming?
Right. What a HIPAA violation.
That didn't take long. It was about the same time in the other game that they first started realizing what legal really meant when you could just bend reality.
Mhm. I mean, we know he's in Adams Hill. We know some of his objects. I don't think it would be that difficult to find him otherwise, but it would seem. Oh, I'm sure there are listings if he's sold other items before too that we could find that are less,
Yeah.
more of a legitimate means to this.
It's probably very easy, magical or otherwise, to find somebody like this.
Nothing else. They probably have a lot of. They've probably got an entourage. And
Yeah, we can go through the production office, but that's or his reps. His reps are probably a better bet here.
can always find out if he tends to have parties and who tends to come to them if he does, and what kinds of parties they are.
Esoteric parties. Does he need a performer?
That is an excellent idea. I think that may be the best idea we've got.
We also could find this reporter. Aaron Smythe. Is it coincidence that he took the last name that you use when you're disguising yourself and removing your name from a project? Seems less than coincidental.
Oh.
Maybe reaching out to the magazine? Because it's interesting, it seems he kept the brooch wrapped the whole time. Had a real fear of it. The author didn't.
Oh, yeah. Or at least he let him see it for a little bit, like, I guess to prove it was real.
He held it. The author held it. He talks about the weight of it in his hand.
Yeah, but it says that it was David himself who took the brooch from the rack bag.
True.
So to prove that, oh, it's real and it's spooky, it's blah. So he has a respect for it, at least, or at least appears to have a respect for
fear
it.
of it, I mean.
Yeah. Well, 6 of one, a test of another.
The question is, do we visit this David individual? Do we visit the reporter, or do we try to find these little shits?
Or all three.
Is it possible that the reporter was one of the little shits?
I don't think.
Could have been gifted.
Quick internet search would probably disprove that this isn't a local company, and this individual is that's their actual name. And
I'm not sure if the reporter will know much, just because they are reporting on what they see, not what they know and what they are told. I feel like the best start, the easiest start at least, would be this David individual, because at least he knew, he was sure he had it, versus trying to find the 4 horsemen.
That's a cool name for him.
Update my notes. That's what they're called now.
Well, yeah, let's then figure out how to get an audience with Mr. Parton.
I'm sure I can make that happen.
And I can ask around and see if I can find who else knows these 4 horsemen.
Yeah, we can more prominently visit.
We know that one of their names was Dean, correct?
Yes, you have one name.
And
It's
there's
just
a
the first
couple.
name.
Do I assume that's the white one?
You know it's the white one.
Right?
With a name like Dean, he's gotta be white.
Say, Stanlis, can I keep this magazine or buy this magazine from you?
No, you can have it. It's fine.
Thanks, Rock.
Was there anything else at Stanlis's shop that you wanted, or are you ready to
Are there any objects that are worthwhile? Like around Stanlis's shop, are there objects that seem to kind of call to us in any way, that seem like they'd be useful in what we do, that they seem like they'd be valuable for channeling? Or
I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Most of the things, he's got a few different categories of things, and with a discerning eye, it's fairly easy to tell. One, he's got a lot of replica and crap that tends to attract the people who have more money than sense, or just want something different. So there's those things. He doesn't really put a lot of magic items up. There are a few things that you notice, but some of them are behind the counter. One of the things that you notice, especially if you had a prime scan active, which I know Omega had at one point, was he's got a old-timey spyglass that looks well worn and is apparently his. There are other things that have connections. You're going to see that with correspondence. You would see it with spirit, potentially see it with prime. These are more or less fetters for the wraiths that come in here. And so some of these things he'll use as bargaining chips. Some things he will get for them. But that is part of his business dealings with them, so that they'll do him favors, or he will do things to help them. He trades in these as a commodity. And that's the bulk. And some things are just interesting, and it's all sorts of randomness. They are curios and curiosities.
If we are actually dealing with a vengeful spirit here, how would you contain that? Is there a certain tool that you would use? I mean, like, are we looking at like a Ghostbusters trap, or are we looking at needing to banish them or exorcise them, or
Depends on what type of magic you do, and what kind of spirit it is, and what you want to do. If you want to just contain them, if you want to drive them off, if you want to destroy them, and different things do different techniques get different results.
so if we're dealing with Violet Penwith,
If
Yeah,
she's
well-
actually there, you would be using. That's the really neat thing about mage. Depending on how you describe what you're doing, could bring in different spheres. At the very least, you would assume that spirit is going to be necessary, but you could do
Yeah.
things with entropy to, force them closer to oblivion. You could use prime to literally shred them. There's all different ways. You can use correspondence to ward or trap them. It's really just going to be a matter, ultimately, of what you think you want to do and if you can do it.
You
So-
could find out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I would much rather things come from the players than me. That's why I hide my face so much when the others are playing.
Also, you could take, if you can figure out what items if you can figure out what their fetter is, then you can either take the fetter, threaten the fetter, bargain with the person. Okay, if you want me to do this, then you're going to have to do this. It really depends on your approach.
so we really need that eye.
Mhm.
That does sound like the fetter, yeah.
Yep.
At least a fetter. Much as he's not thrilled with it, Archon tends to see things in the Vidari Mortem more often than not, unless he makes an effort not to. So what does this place look like to me?
I did bring some of that up with Jen. So it is
Mhm.
primarily, this place is overlapped with, because of the dreaming aspect.
Yeah.
The Shadowlands aspect
Mhm.
is it's very old, but it's not very decayed. It seems to have a life of its own here. Because of Stanlis's presence, it is, again, there's a lot of attention from the spirit realm here, but it's not because this place is any closer to oblivion. And then there's lots of, I wouldn't say, actually I will say, there's actually bits of color here.
So it's like a safe haven, essentially, for the souls trapped in between.
Yes.
Thank you. Cool. And that actually makes Archon happy, because Archon spends way too much time looking at the people who can't move on and are stuck. And that's one of the shittier things about Archon's life. He's stuck, and so are they.
So there you go. That's where you've been and what's going on.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to take this as Archon. I am going to take that as an encouraging thing, and I actually like Stannis a lot better, seeing the way that he is taking care of them and providing a space for them, especially in LA. They need that.
He is a Sluagh. So you guys are gonna head into Glendale?
Yeah, head towards Glendale, because that's where David is, correct?
Yes.
It's on our way
And-
back anyway.
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes away. If that, even
Not far.
in fairly busy times, you're fine.
Okay.
While we're traveling, so Naida, what would you like to do? What do you have in mind? Show.
Well, fire will be involved, of course. I don't know. Probably the staff. Yeah. And then like she kind of goes middle distance for a second as she's kind of like thinking about the type of performance that she's going to put on. Yeah, I think the staff, and I don't don't know. We'll just see what happens. I'll feel it out. It's the way I do everything. I just feel it out.
You have somebody for music? You want to set something up?
Archon, you.
Well, I didn't want to assume, but thank you. But yeah, I mean, do you want? What would you prefer? You want so guitar, techno?
Well, I can dance to anything, but I guess if this is happening, I guess we can kind of see what this guy is into.
Yeah, okay, we can. Yeah, I've done some gigs with some friends of mine who are belly dancers, and maybe we can I can bring in a couple of percussionists and a DJ, and we could just work around an improvisational soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be a lot of fun.
My apologies, just above the board. They are setting up what?
We're
just letting them run with
talking
it.
about putting on a party.
For David.
Yeah, like a
Street party?
no, like an occult party where there's also dancing. Like an esoteric / occult party
With
where
the
there's also
idea
dancing.
that David might be interested in it.
Yes.
Got you. I was like, where is this going? And I just wanted to just make sure my brain was processing. I love it. But I was like, what?
No,
Well,
now we're all here.
Rev will speak up and say, well, you all may be able to be the entertainment, but I am the voice. Not quite literally. I'm pretty known to the right people. I'm sure a personal invitation, he would be interested from me. And if not, well, I'll weave it so it's so.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds good.
It doesn't take long to get there. Adams Hill is a section of Glendale. Just above this neighborhood is a cemetery. It's actually where Walt Disney is buried, if you don't believe the conspiracy theories. The houses are not huge. They're not small, but they're all in there, usually offset on the hill. There may be gates. A lot of Mercedes and Lexuses and BMWs parked. But this is not ostensibly wealthy in the sense that you can't get in. You literally could park the car and walk up to the front door if you wanted.
Before I do that, I'd like to put out basically like a Craigslist ad looking for esoterica. Hopefully we can draw the Four Horsemen into reaching out, trying to fence the item.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
that
get
doesn't
up in
require a
couple of
roll.
places. Yeah,
Posting a Craigslist ad is pretty easy.
yeah, and maybe put it up if there are a couple of other places that I feel like it might be more effective to reach. Maybe the forums of the magazine too, if they have a buy sell. So that's going to give us a lot of hits. Yeah, right.
That one was too easy. No, that's fine. More Raven
Yeah.
Press. You're gonna put something up on their forums.
Yeah, just like that. So we're going to get overloaded on that. So I will. I'll try and be as specific as I can. Maybe throw in a few keywords from the article about the item.
Okay.
That seem to kind of narrow it down a little. If there's a way that I can weave some correspondence and mind in there to help narrow that, the kind of responses we get to sort of legitimate types of responses and queries from people.
Okay.
Yeah, we all know how Craigslist is.
Yeah. I'll come back to that aspect of it. But yeah, you can have your posts up. You could have done
Yeah.
that either right before you left or during the drive or whatever.
I'm driving, so unless I could voice text it, in which case it probably reads,
Mind and correspondence, you can do it mentally.
looking to buy. Oh, that works.
You say Mora Raven Press?
I did.
That's what I thought.
I know you know what that is.
Yeah.
It's on the cover of the book or of the
It
magazine.
completely
too.
slid past me the first time, and then when you mentioned it, I'm
I
like,
thought that's what you were laughing about.
Oh, that's lovely. I love it. That's evil.
And could I? So again, above board. So guess what I'm understanding, because we are coming to this person's house. Are we about to throw our Naida and Archon about to throw an impromptu party?
No.
No.
No,
Or they're just starting the invitation for a later time.
Yes.
we're talking about putting something together later.
Thank you.
Like, selling him on the idea so that he can that in itself could bring out the four horsemen. If we
Got you. I was okay. Now my brain is here.
Naida's gonna walk up to his door with a staff in hand, light it
the
on
fire.
and just go.
Okay, bet. Okay, cool. Okay.
It's
But,
mage.
okay.
It could be any and all of the above. I have no idea, and that's just why, as an ST for this, you just have a bare framework.
Knowing that Cassie is, would Cassie let us know that they're going to be making this post, this Craigslist ad, try to add some stuff, or is it something that they just naturally do?
We can talk about it. That's fine.
Well, I mean, if not, it's fine. But I was saying
It might be a good idea for us to see if we can get those buyers or those vendors to try and sell to us. Get a little
Makes sense.
information instead of having to track them down. Have them come right to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we use several different approaches. Not only do we have better chances of getting the people that we want, but we also might make some other useful contacts and learn a few useful things for later.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to be using my arcane to kind of slip through the cracks on this too. That I'm not going to leave a trace once I'm done with what I need to do here.
And what the Rev wants to also do, as he's kind of mulling this over and smiling about it and saying, they say the Lord works in mysterious ways, and while I'm not as close to him as I once was, the mystery part still applies. And I want to, once that post is done, I want to, using entropy, just kind of alter probability to make sure the right people see it. Make sure that it pops up at the right time.
Okay, give me a roll. And this is something I'm assuming you're doing through prayer.
A prayer in the sense. So I didn't mention it. He has a necklace with a black stone cross on it, but that cross is cracked. And he does kind of just hold it and feel on it and say, sometimes the prayer isn't to a metaphysical entity. Sometimes it's what you needed at the right moment. You didn't even know. Because again, he's all about, he will influence the situation, but he wants you to know it wasn't necessarily God who did it. He's kind of a rebel. That is a 9, a 7, and a 4.
2 successes. Well done. Okay. You put that out into the universe.
He gets happy when he influences like that, and it's kind of interesting, but anywho.
Okay. So you've all done your prerequisite. Some of it is contingency planning in case you need to sell the party idea. Got your post up. You've done what you can to hopefully make it more successful.
Yeah. As we approach, are there any signs that there was a break-in here recently? That anything might have happened? Any signs of conflict around the edges as we're arriving here?
That's kind of a smart thing to look for. I'm not even going to ask you to make investigation. It's pretty straightforward. There is a broken window.
Okay.
kind of notice that.
Yeah, if you've got a perception of 2 or better, you're gonna even see it without a roll. I'm not even gonna require anything. So
I was gonna say I have a perception of 4. Is there anything else I noticed around?
no, it's been enough days. There's been police here. Everything's been kind of checked. I wouldn't say it's been scrubbed or anything, but other than that, looks like there's something kind of taping it up, and you would assume that contractors are going to be fixing this very soon.
So on a related note, I'm just while we're driving around and stuff like that, I'm going to just try and size it up, just from a, this way in, this way out, that thing looks out of place. This thing has an interesting story attached to it and that sort of thing. It would just pretty much be just either straight perception or maybe perception plus alertness. But my my specialty on perception is dark secrets. So I want to essentially size it up and see if I can figure out anything that we should know going in here, or maybe to get out of here if need be. 9943.
It's very, very convenient getting in and out of this area. Glendale is surrounded by 3 freeways, and coming from downtown LA or San Diego, way beyond that, is the 5 freeway, which travels north through California up to Seattle.
Yeah.
Coming from the east is the 210, which joins the 134 around Pasadena. It goes west to Studio City, where it joins with the 101, and that goes out to the coast and joins the Pacific Coast Highway. And from the north is the 2, which spurs off the 210 near JPL. It goes through Glendale and drops off in LA near Echo Park. So, very convenient, both to get out of here and hit a freeway if you needed to.
Yeah, have to have somebody else do Google Maps because I've got a little burner flip phone.
But your character would be able to know this without it, so
Yeah.
that would be more.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, he's
You have
actually
a Thomas guide.
Oh, it's even more. I mean, I've got I'm on a first name basis with the spirit of the city. I could just do that.
That'll work.
Right. Are we still in the car, or
You are telling me what you're doing, but
We're now out of the car because we see the window.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah. Rev will definitely get out the car and kind of straighten himself up. Make sure he looks good, because that's what he always has to do. He's very much a face, but he'll look back to make sure everybody's not just lingering or whatever, and we'll start to head towards David's door.
As I get out of the car and look around, I am she feels a little underdressed. So she's probably going to
it's LA. There's no such thing.
Yeah, leggings and a t-shirt.
Okay,
where you want to go.
So then, yeah, she'll probably just pull at her clothes a little bit, but she looks fine.
It's a home. It's not a mansion.
David, what is David's profession again? I'm sorry.
He's a producer. He's
a
like a hot
producer.
shot producer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I have a charisma 5, so I'm not worried. But cool. Yeah, he'll head over to the door and give it a good old knock.
It opens.
Or if there's a doorbell.
It's a doorbell, but yeah. Ding dong. It opens. I don't have a ding dong on my thing, otherwise I would.
How dare you?
There. or like the
Scary
Addams
movie
Family
too.
or
You
something.
scared him. No, with ding dong. Oh my God, who's here?
If you've ever seen Scary Movie 2, that was very appropriate.
So he opens the door. It's not like he's got a servant or anything. Hello.
Who knows? And again, just so it's known, the Rev isn't like some big celebrity or anything like that. However, his presence and what he does is pretty known. He has a good chunk of dots in fame and status. He just kind of smiles and goes, I'm so sorry. I don't want to be intruding if you are busy.
No, it's fine. What, can I help you?
Sorry, you can call me the Reverend. I couldn't help but find an interest, a need to introduce myself after a certain magazine came out about.
Which
well, sorry, was it a magazine?
No. As soon as you say that, I am like my hand over your shoulder.
Okay, because at this point he's
like-
assuming that you're trying to gonna be handing him a copy of the Watchtower or something. You ding donged and then introduce yourself as a reverend. He's assuming
Valid.
that you're wanting
Hello.
a donation.
No.
He sees the magazine.
Over your shoulder, I throw the copy of the magazine. Like not throw, but it's in my hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gave that interview. Can I help you?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Nothing that's again, if this is the worst time for me to be here, I will gladly meet you at another time. But
He's just a little guarded. He knows what's going on.
he knows, yeah, and the Rev is subtly trying to sweet talk, just keep calm, but also that innate charisma and charm that he has. He's a very much a people person. He knows how to control a situation, control a conversation specifically. What the shit? Sorry. Bleep that.
Or maybe I keep it.
And yeah, he I understand that this is probably fresh, but time sometimes isn't on our side, and I just wanted to know more is all. And I'd rather go to the source than some reporter or someone on the street who can't understand.
Well, I'm not sure what you and your friends want to know. I pretty much told the history of it and everything there was to know about it.
And he had at one point the eye, correct?
Yeah.
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 He
Publicly,
had
he
it
still
during
does.
during
He
the
had-
interview,
During the interview.
And-
Yeah.
and he has not yet told us that he does not have it
Yes.
anymore.
Uh-huh.
That's information that we have that he has not shared.
Yeah.
Can I reach out with Mind and kind of get a sense of how he's feeling right now about the fact that people have come to talk to him about that?
Well, yeah, he's already kind of distracted. Let's give this a difficulty of 6 though, because he is a little bit on guard.
8, 4, and 3, and I have Mind of 3.
1 success. You're at least getting the surface thoughts that 1, he's guarded, and you do get a tinge of, I guess they don't know I don't have it. So he is being guarded and covering up the truth at this point. You at least know he's kind of lying, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't use anything, but I also have a Mind of 3, and I'm pretty perceptive. I'm just, when I probably get like innate vibes, at least that he is.
You would be able to use kind of the probing of your questions as
Yeah.
part of your focus. So
Yeah.
that's a totally easy way of kind of probing in their surface thoughts.
And I'll say, I'll be honest with you. I know this is very much if I may speak freely, a really weird and fucked situation.
I have 4 people on my doorstep that I don't know, so it is a little strange.
I get that. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think there was a need for it. But I think I just want to understand the situation in a way that reports don't tell. What exactly did you feel with this eye, with this object? Do you still have it?
No, I filed a police report. It was stolen last week.
It was stolen from your house.
Yes.
My apologies. I guess assume that someone like you are very much a well-known individual, would have more security. That's not a hit at the truth, but it is what it is. Are you a weird question? Are you happy it's gone? Would you like it back? I based on the report, it sounds like it was kind of a burden.
I'm assuming that it'll get back to me.
Why? Sounds like a piece of junk or something that's pretty but would be sold to many people. Do you think it would just appear back? Is there a reason for that?
It's cursed. And unless someone wants to buy it and willingly buys it, it will tend to have a way to come back to the owner.
How did you get it?
I was traveling in Europe at the time, and not knowing all of its repercussions, wanted a piece of something truly dark and of the occult. It's something of a hobby.
Who did you
And,
buy it from?
Oh, some buyer in the UK. But I purchased it, and I've tried giving it away, giving it to museums. It still comes back. Tried selling it with it not being completely disclosed. It came back. So I agreed to the article in the hopes that I would get a good buyer. Everything disclosed, everything up front. So I don't need it anymore.
So when you bought it, everything was disclosed to you?
Everything that individual knew.
Okay.
So it was stolen a week ago, you said?
I think it was those damn kids. The house around
What
the corner.
kids? Around the
Do you know
corner.
about the kids? Do you know them? Do you know their names?
Mark lives over, his family lives over there. I called the cops on them. They went in, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Mark gives us a second name.
What were they doing? Why did you think it was them?
Well, those four kind of loiter and hang out around here anyway. And I had to go out for something. And they were out on the street. And when I came home, I had the break-in. Didn't realize it was missing yet. It's not the sort of thing that I am touching or, but no TVs were missing. None of my laptop wasn't.
That's the only object that was missing.
That has been the only object I've found that's gone.
So they hang out over there, and I motion with my head over at a general place area where they might have been loitering. Or
yeah, over there. The one thing you
Better
do
yet.
notice about the spot is that it is in sight of the cemetery. You can see the cemetery from that spot on the street.
So I'm gonna walk over there, and one of the reasons Archon goes barefoot most of the time is because sense the space. What I'm gonna do is while they're talking, go over to that area and just stand there again with the do the yoga breathing. Take out a cigarette. Yes, yoga breathing with a cigarette. I know Archon's not always the brightest boy in the. Use that, concentrate, draw the smoke in, out, and try and get this is mechanically using time to mind to. Basically, I'm going to see if I can recog, get an impression of them, maybe what they were feeling, maybe even hear what they were saying at the time, kind of just reach through and see what I can find.
Okay.
And actually, I'm going to throw a quintessence into this one.
To lower the div?
Yep. So, and I have again perception, dark secrets, and this would also be awareness.
You're not going to be able to get it below difficulty 4. So.
Oh, I know. But this is just to help out.
Yeah, you're stacking the deck as much as you can.
Yeah, which is good because I got a 10 and 2 3s.
So go ahead and explode your 10.
Explode the 10. That's a 6.
Okay.
So that would be two
Two
successes.
You see the kids there.
Okay.
You and the Reverend have now all had eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of get a sense using mind and time for what they were doing and what they were thinking. You can hear them talking about casing the place. You can hear them talking about seeing this magazine and having the magazine and not knowing that the asshole around the corner had this thing. This sounds cool. We should get it. And then go up to the cemetery with it. Maybe we can talk to Walt Disney. There's some other famous people up in there too, but that's the one I know off the top of my head. And then they see him leave dinner, going wherever. They quickly break into the house. They're only looking for this, so they go into his study. You presume you're not.
Yeah, I can't
necessarily
actually
following.
see that far, but yeah. But I get what I'm getting a sense of is what they were doing when they got more to the point. I now know what they look like and sound like.
And then they come out. They're like, "Fuck yeah!" And then you see them kind of cutting through the yards and heading up to the memorial garden.
Cool, thank you. And now I know who to look for and who to ask around about.
I look at Naida and Cassie, and it's more of a, do you all have any other questions for him? Because I don't think he's going to be more useful than he is right now.
Well, he's definitely not being like Stanlis and offering you tea.
Of course he isn't.
But he did point to their house.
Exactly.
I'm gonna just really quickly do a scan of his house. Is there anything that's popping out at me? Perception 4, awareness 3.
It's the sort of home that somebody who, I mean, you know how houses can be here in LA. Things can be very expensive even when there's not much. They can be, so he's paying for the location. It's a nice house, but it's not, I can say it's like a $2 million home around here, but that's not necessarily saying that it's extravagant by any means.
Okay, but there's just nothing that stands out in his about his home or about his presence that flags anything
He
for me.
doesn't seem to be awakened. He seems to be this.
He seems to just be a collector.
He's a collector. He's a hobbyist. He was somebody that got money doing stuff for TV and wants to waste it on shit.
Cool. Hey, there are better causes, but if it makes you happy, I guess you do you.
With that, and then noticing that Archon's doing some stuff, he'll reach out his hand to shake David and say, "Thank you for your time. I know this was very strange. I admit that, but sometimes strangeness can be useful."
Strangeness follows this thing, and he shakes your hand.
As we touch.
Sometimes.
Every time we touch again. But as we touch, and I'll just say, I know things have been hard. I can tell that, and I'm not. My name may be the Reverend, but I'm more of a just guidance counselor. Know that for the bad, some good will come, and I hope you see that soon. Speaking to him and touching him using entropy 3, I want to kind of influence his life just a little bit, just to make sure that something good happens, whether it's him finding some money or even getting a potential interview for something
The
good.
showrunner on a hit show in Hollywood. He's already hit the jackpot.
But hey, sometimes
Lightning
even that.
strikes.
The thing about some famous people is getting more makes them better. So I want to subtly, and it's him just speaking, speaking into existence. It's not nothing he's doing really showing off, but I do want to attempt to just influence him a little bit.
Okay. You want to roll for it?
I do. And I'm going to expend the willpower just to make sure. Is that what I do? So I do 4 dice instead of 3?
No, you just get a free success.
I just get a free success, but I still roll 3.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think that's the way the Vampire 5th edition works.
That's a 9, a 10, and a 4.
You get to go ahead and roll the 10 again.
10 explodes.
Roll 10 again. That's a 9.
Okay,
Wow.
so you got...
Nope, sorry, that's a 6.
Okay, that's still enough.
Still works, yeah.
For
Four
that
successes?
level spell? Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Cool. And like I say, and if you ever need anything, you probably have people, and I will just like reach into my pocket and hand him a card. I'm not going to show that one. I was like, ding! Though I can, I'm not going to do that for him. But
T, are you jumping in there with Naina? and her
Yes,
pen?
of course I am. Of course I am. So yes, it is a new day. So she has opted for silver ink today, and just a little smiley face on the bottom right corner of the.
So as the Reverend pulls his card up to get ready to hand it, Naina is just like... Ink is still wet.
Actually, on the back of the card, there's the smiley face on the bottom right corner, but on the back of the card, she writes "available for parties" and then like her email address.
Okay. There you go. He'll take the card. Doesn't know what the hell he's going to do with it.
valid.
And closes the door.
So we now have Mark's home address and first name.
Yeah.
It feels like that might be enough to find his socials handles. Maybe start trying to track a little bit that way.
Especially Facebook sometimes.
He's one of those young'uns who uses the internet.
The TikToks.
So using my phone, which is a focus, it's one of my foci. I want to kind of reach out and find what I can and like put a little bit of a tendril onto that.
Okay. Let's see. What do you want to do? So you're trying to find out about him, or?
I mean, the goal is to kind of find his social media handles so we can follow him, and both literally and figuratively, and maybe figure out where they are taking the eye, what they're doing with it.
Okay. Do you want to do
And I'm
this
trying
with
to think
magic, or
because
just...
so David has handled the eye and it didn't kill anybody. The author of the article has handled the eye and it didn't kill him. The kids have handled the eye and it didn't kill them.
That we know.
What made it different at the club?
Well, here's the thing. The kids may have been at the club, and whatever they were doing with it may have coincided with the fact that this victim had a medical emergency.
Right.
And David didn't necessarily have anybody die, but he mentioned that shit was weird about it. He definitely
and
mentioned what was going
Thinks
on.
it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it also seems that it's not necessarily who owns it, because what is stealing actually owning it, or stealing it is borrowing it. It just in whoever has it is being affected by this thing. So yeah, I think, and then they probably had it for
whoever's bought it. It's the owner is the one who has the curse, but we don't know what happens when someone who is not an owner is handling it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the wording and what people are saying, like David and whatever, is that he was cursed, but the stuff still happened potentially while the kids have it, and they were not the owner. Therefore,
Right, but the author handled it and nothing happened, as far as we know.
That is true as well.
So maybe it's with the consent of the owner.
Oh, maybe.
You know, also from talking to the spirits at the shop, you know that it just attracts bad juju in the spirit world. And you know it lets people see into the spirit world.
Which in the graveyard is not going to be great. And then at a club, it's not going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a club with such a resonance of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
And anything else that I'm throwing in there that you don't know about. But yes.
While Cassie's doing that, I'll talk to Naida about, well, obviously we can't do it here, but we can still set up a show or something and may attract these kids. And I'm also going to describe, because I don't know that they know what these kids look like, I'm going to describe what I did, what I saw, and who we're looking for.
Okay.
And Reverend will say, I felt that. I saw that back at the shop.
Did you see them do anything with spirits while they were there?
At the shop? No, they...
No, in the graveyard.
I didn't, did I?
No, you didn't see anything there.
Yeah. No, nothing yet.
Okay.
Right.
So this thing could be a conduit for something that was at the club. You think we need to go to the club?
Possibly.
I
probably... Oh, God.
Oh, well, any of us, honestly, but I would say, do we know when that club is active?
I'm probably a regular at that club.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, I was like, you more so, but I mean, just because
Naida's probably been there at least once.
Folks, I don't want to say non-savory, but he speaks to the downtrodden. So people who tend to, congregate at places like that. That sounds fucked, but it is true.
Yeah. What do we know about it, Michaela?
It is a fairly popular club. It is like some of the other clubs that we have here in Los Angeles, in which they play with the theme. They combine that theme with speakeasies, bars, and dance clubs. We have places like the Edison, which is steampunk themed and built in an old power plant. The same company owns Clifton's, which is a goth area, a tiki bar, and a woodland area. There are others like Break Room 86, which is 80s themed and you enter in through a vending machine. Pour Vu, which is French, and Davy Wings, which is a 70s garage.
You enter through a refrigerator.
And Scum and Villainy, which is sci-fi themed. This is like those, but on a bigger scale. And so it's a repurposed warehouse space in North Hollywood. So not in Hollywood, this is up in the valley. And there's a lot of larger areas here because this is where like the special effects shops set up and that kind of thing. The main floor is all heaven themed, and they play dance and techno and trance music and that kind of music. All of the decor here is celestial. It's not truly religious. It's all literary type. So this is more like Paradise Lost than it is, biblical. Downstairs is the Inferno level, and it is hell themed.
And it's much more popular.
This one's going to be more like goth and dark wave, and so it's a different clientele. Most people come in, they may go between floors, but for the most part, they have their style of music that they prefer. Both venues have a stage, so sometimes there's live bands. There's a VIP level up top that you can get to, but it's a bar and club, and they get really neat with some of their special effects, and they take the theming really serious. But
because of the theme and because of the type of people who frequent it and just what it just becomes, it can host some bad juju.
Well, that's an assumption, but sure.
That's an assumption, yeah.
As a reverend, that's an easy assumption to make.
Which is why I'm not that religious anymore.
Is it a place that's really started to draw the metaphysical crowd yet? Because it seems like the sort of place that if it were popular and if it were open for a while, then the local vampires would be hanging out and mage types would be hanging out and the occult dabblers would definitely be hanging out.
Have you been there before in character?
Probably, yeah.
You can say yes, it's fine.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Let's just make a
place.
few assumptions. First off, there may have been the occasional vampire, but it is neither an Elysium nor an Iraq. It is, if they're there, it's purely because, hey, here's some goth kids and this is an easy feed tonight.
Nom nom nom.
But they are not, this is not a regular.
Not a congregation site.
The mages don't seem to want to be here either. And in fact, most people, especially on the hell floor, get a sense of unease metaphysically with the dance floor. If you'd ever used Prime while you were in there, this would have been a null spot. The gauntlet is fairly thick through here.
A null spot meaning like nothing shows up, or
as in
no.
It's the opposite of a node.
That's interesting.
So most of the truly metaphysical people just don't like really being here.
That sounds like somebody. Well, that doesn't even sounds like somebody is hiding something.
Yeah. And we'll kind of leave it at that unless you get in there, but this seems more sterile than it does mystical.
That's probably more meta than I should go, but yeah, I think I know where that. That's funny.
I chose that word for you. I chose that word for you.
Thank you.
Having been to school and I have 2 dots in academics and 3 dots in enigmas. Does it make sense to extrapolate that there might be a hidden level between heaven and hell?
No, that would have been very difficult.
Purgatory.
I mean, that's
Purgatory is like the foyer area.
Oh,
it's
okay.
actually called Purgatorio. And when you actually walk into the club, it's almost like an art gallery. And there's a vices side and a virtues side. And so the artwork in this room is set up like that. And when you go into basically the pearly gates, that side takes you into the heaven club. You go into the inferno doors in the vices section of the room, and that takes you downstairs to hell.
Okay, so there's not an in-between level that we know of. It's the purgatory is before you choose your path. Okay. Cool. May I recommend we return to my lab for some caffeination and perhaps a bit of research on the history of this club and location?
Sounds good to me, and I know where I'm going tonight. Anyone want to join me?
Not my personal establishment of choice, but I could put on a better suit, or should I dress down?
That'll work.
I think honestly, if you dressed up, that would make it like you'd still fit in.
Put on the collar.
Yeah.
No.
The face journey.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you can go to the lab.
Yeah. Go back to Cassie's, and then we'll go to that later. Yeah.
Okay.
So the lab is my sanctum. It is a place that I can really tap into my research and dive deep on that stuff. So I can actually capitalize on that and pair it with Dream too. So I can go back to my lab and use Dream to concentrate on what we're looking for to learn about this club, kind of what it might be attracting, what it might be, what its function may be, what its history may be, who might be involved with it and controlling it, those sorts of things. So I can do both the actual literal research, but I can also research it on a more mystical level.
Okay. Then I will give you some bits of information. Most of these some of these anybody in the group can be code discovering online. Others you're going to be getting from kind of the nuances of what you're doing. I'm not even going to bother with the role. It's pretty straightforward. The club is a little more than a year old. It was a repurposed studio space. They've had various events, various bands in. They seem to be doing well. There's nothing that screams unusual about it in those respects. When you start using some of your additional abilities going into this, you do get the name of a company associated with them from a holding perspective, and their name is Carnivian Entertainment. They've got a little logo of a carnival. You can
I
find.
was gonna say, like, have I heard of them from a performer perspective? Like, do they?
No, they're more of a holding
Okay.
company. They've got various clubs in the country,
Okay.
but they're not necessarily putting on burner events or anything. There's been no reported deaths here. There's been no reported until this past weekend.
So last week, yeah.
There's been no reported like mystical things haven't really happened. This is the first time anyone who's going in there has an assumption that they're seeing holograms and whatnot. So no one has claimed to have seen or experienced anything otherwise. Most of the social media, people enjoy being there. Good drink prices, great tunes. It's fun. Some oddities associated with it is that police reports in the area do tend to focus on vice crimes. That is an elevated percentage in that kind of Burbank Boulevard and Vineland corridor that this thing is near.
Vice crimes like stealing and stuff like that, or like things that are more
Sex traffic,
carnal?
carnal, drugs, but I'm just keeping it generic for our purposes.
Hedonistic.
Yeah, more
Type.
of those things. Not so much murder, not so much, it's not like a murder central. It's just that in this area, there are more arrests for prostitution and drugs and those kinds of things than there are necessarily in other areas.
Speaking as someone who has been in, living around the city and especially in those circles for a while, does it seem like it's higher, more recent? Does it seem like higher than usual for that area since they opened?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice, simple answer. And it doesn't necessarily, I mean, you might think, well, there's a club, there's people drinking, their inhibitions are going to be lower. There can be that kind of behavior, and that in and of itself isn't unusual if you're not looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you do start noticing the pattern when you are looking for the pattern.
That's what I thought. Because I mean, well, it's as above, so below what you put out there, and that's whether they're putting it out there with any kind of metaphysical intention or not. They're going to be both attracting and intensifying it, even if there's not a paranormal element involved in it.
And if I'm understanding correctly, whoever comes around, whatever, the null zone that's in the club is not helping.
Most humans would not be really cognizant of
Exactly, yeah. But it doesn't mean that something isn't being amplified in a way, right? Yeah. Okay.
You don't know.
But doesn't mean exactly that. Doesn't it mean that it's
being suppressed?
yeah?
It's being
anything-
suppressed? Oh, I thought that.
Yeah.
It means that at least during the time that he had been in there, things seemed suppressed.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, then I misinterpreted that.
Yeah. So null zone is like, imagine like an area that's like devoid of magic. Magic isn't happening there, whereas there's normally like what in D&D we call the weave.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's an absence. It's a void.
Gotcha. No,
Which
makes
is
sense.
interesting since we have an object that is acting as a void of spirits. It's a black hole drawing them in. So maybe that's some of
Somewhat
That's kind
metaphysical
of what it was doing,
shenanigans,
right?
Jen? Yeah.
No, but maybe that's what kicked it off, was the idea of bringing an object that is, it's like it's a black hole with a black hole. You don't want to mix the two.
Are you going back to
or-
D&D and saying don't stick a
I
bag of holding
I
inside
said
of a
it, I wasn't intending to, and then I was like, well, crap. But that's the idea, is like you have these two nexuses of power vacuum.
That's a fine
And-
assumption.
And the two of them together would probably not go well. So, has there been a change in crime in the last week?
In the area?
Or anything notable that's happened in the surrounding area since the person died?
That's a good question.
Yes.
What has changed?
There has been a strong uptick in violence against the homeless.
That's my department.
That's my department.
Including 2 murders.
That's definitely our department.
And that's where we're going
Okay.
to leave it today.
But no! No, I've been invested, but now I'm like, hold on. I deal personally with the homeless. So, like, I would know more about this. Oh, okay.
And Michaela's got us.
Yeah,
Mic drop.
yeah. Well done. Not well played.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Oh, this is so much fun.
Thank you for
Yes,
that. That
it
was
really
This game is great.
that was bump set spike.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesome. I'm having a blast here.
This is really cool.
Mhm.
This is really cool.
I'm so pressed now.